At 2 a.m. Venezuelan time, the skies above Caracas were silent. Most of the country was asleep, and air defense operators had no indication that anything unusual was approaching. Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro was the target. What they didn't know was that American stealth fighters had already crossed into their airspace minutes earlier. The operation had begun before anyone realized it, and by the time radar systems detected the first signatures, the United States had already established complete control of the sky. The mission was precise, fast, and built around one objective. The U.S. was there to retrieve something, and they brought nearly every category of military vehicle in their arsenal to make sure nothing went wrong. Stealth fighters, multi-role jets, strategic bombers, electronic warfare aircraft, armed drones, special operations helicopters, refueling tankers, and a full naval strike group all moved together in one synchronized operation. This is the complete breakdown of every vehicle used and what each one actually did. The F-22 Raptor entered Venezuelan airspace first, and nothing detected it coming. This is the most advanced air superiority fighter ever built. Its stealth profile is so refined that enemy radar systems struggle to distinguish it from background noise. The aircraft cruises at supersonic speeds without afterburner, which means it moves faster than most jets while producing less heat signature for missiles to track. The Raptors carried AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles capable of destroying enemy aircraft from beyond visual range. Their job was simple: clear the sky of any Venezuelan fighters that attempted to respond and ensure no threats remain for the aircraft coming behind them. Venezuelan air defenses never had a chance to scramble an effective response. By the time their systems registered American presence, the F-22s had already locked down every possible air corridor, and that's when the strike package arrived. The F-35 came in two variants during this operation, and each one served a different purpose. The F-35A launched from land bases and carried the heaviest payload. This variant handled electronic warfare and surveillance, feeding real-time data to every other aircraft in the operation. Its sensor fusion technology combined information from radar, infrared, and electronic systems into a single picture that pilots could read instantly. The F-35B operated from naval vessels in international waters. This variant takes off from short runways and lands vertically, which made it perfect for launching from amphibious assault ships without needing a full aircraft carrier. These jets struck air defense installations and provided precision targeting for the bombers that followed. Both variants carried internal weapons bays to maintain their stealth profiles. Bombs and missiles stayed hidden inside the aircraft until the moment of release, which kept radar cross-sections minimal throughout the approach. If you're new here and want more breakdowns of military technology and operations, hit subscribe now. The F-35s softened the target area, but the heavy firepower was still on its way. The F/A-18 Super Hornet brought raw striking power to the operation. This aircraft has been the backbone of U.S. naval aviation for decades, and it carried out targeted attacks on command centers, military installations, and communications facilities across the target zone. The Super Hornet isn't a stealth aircraft, but it didn't need to be. By the time these jets arrived, Venezuelan air defenses had already been degraded by the F-22s and F-35s. Each Super Hornet carried a mix of precision-guided munitions. JDAM bombs converted GPS coordinates into direct hits on buildings and infrastructure. Harpoon missiles stood ready in case any naval threats appeared. The Super Hornet's twin-engine design gives it redundancy that single-engine jets lack. If one takes damage, the aircraft can still return to base. This reliability made it ideal for sustained operations over hostile territory. These jets worked in pairs, covering each other while delivering ordnance on designated targets. The coordination was seamless because every pilot saw the same battlefield picture transmitted from the E-2D Hawkeyes overhead. And while the fighters handled precision work, something much larger was approaching. The B-1B Lancer carried more firepower than any other aircraft in the operation. This supersonic bomber was designed during the Cold War to penetrate Soviet air defenses and deliver nuclear payloads. Today, it serves a different role, carrying massive quantities of conventional munitions to destroy hardened targets that smaller aircraft cannot crack. The B-1B can carry 75,000 pounds of weapons internally. During the Venezuela operation, these bombers unleashed precision-guided bombs on reinforced bunkers, underground facilities, and military compounds that required heavy ordnance to neutralize. The aircraft's variable sweep wings allow it to fly efficiently at both high and low speeds. When approaching a target, the wings sweep back for maximum speed. When loitering or returning to base, they extend forward for fuel efficiency. Venezuelan forces had no answer for this kind of firepower. Their air defenses were designed to handle regional threats, not strategic bombers, flying at the edge of the radar envelope while guided by stealth aircraft. The B-1B strikes eliminated the hardest targets on the list. But none of this would have worked without the aircraft jamming every radar in the country. The EA-18G Growler made sure Venezuelan forces could not see what was coming. This aircraft looks nearly identical to the Super Hornet because it's built on the same airframe. The difference is what it carries. Instead of bombs and missiles, the Growler is loaded with electronic warfare pods that detect jam and destroy enemy radar and communication systems. When the Growlers activated their jamming equipment, Venezuelan radar screens turned to static. Air defense operators lost track of incoming aircraft. Communications between military units broke down. Command centers could not coordinate a response because their radios were overwhelmed with interference. The Growler can also fire AGM-88 HARM missiles, which home in on radar emissions and destroy the antenna. Any air defense system that tried to track American aircraft immediately became a target. The choice for Venezuelan operators was simple: turn on your radar and die, or keep it off and stay blind. This electronic blanket covered the entire operation. Every other aircraft benefited from the chaos the Growlers created. And above it all, one aircraft was watching everything. The E-2D Hawkeye served as the brain of the entire operation. This aircraft carries a massive rotating radar dome on top of its fuselage, and it can track hundreds of aircraft and surface contacts simultaneously. The operators inside the Hawkeye saw every friendly and enemy asset across the entire theater, and they directed the battle in real time. When an F-22 needed a new target, the Hawkeye provided it. When strike aircraft required deconfliction to avoid flying into each other's paths, the Hawkeye managed the spacing. When helicopters needed clearance to insert ground teams, the Hawkeye confirmed the airspace was safe. The E-2D also links directly with naval vessels, sharing its radar picture with destroyers and amphibious ships. This connection meant that commanders on the water had the same situational awareness as pilots in the sky. Without the Hawkeye, the operation would have been a chaotic mess of aircraft trying to coordinate through radio calls. With it, every vehicle moved like a single organism with perfect awareness of its surroundings. The manned aircraft handled the heavy work, but silent machines were watching from above. The drones arrived before anyone else, and they never left. The RQ-170 Sentinel is a stealth reconnaissance drone that the U.S. rarely acknowledges publicly. Its batwing shape minimizes radar signature, and it carries sensors capable of monitoring targets from altitudes where it cannot be seen or heard. During the Venezuela operation, the Sentinel provided early intelligence on air defense positions, troop movements, and the location of the primary objective. The MQ-9 Reaper served a different role. This drone is not subtle. It carries Hellfire missiles and precision bombs, and it loitered over the target area, providing armed overwatch for special operations teams on the ground. If any threat emerged that the helicopters couldn't handle immediately, the Reaper was already watching with weapons ready. Both drones fed live video and sensor data back to commanders who could make decisions in real time. The combination of stealth reconnaissance and armed overwatch meant that American forces always knew more than their opponents. The skies were secured. And that's when the helicopters came in. The helicopters carried the teams that completed the objective. The MH-47 Chinook is the heavy lifter of Special Operations Aviation. This twin-rotor helicopter can transport dozens of operators along with their equipment, and it has the range to reach targets deep inside hostile territory. The Chinooks flew low and fast through terrain that masked them from radar, arriving at the insertion point while the rest of the operation held Venezuelan attention elsewhere. The MH-60 direct action penetrators provided armed escort. These modified Blackhawks carry miniguns, rockets, and Hellfire missiles. They flew alongside the transport helicopters, ready to suppress any ground fire that emerged. Standard UH-60 Blackhawks handled additional troop transport, moving assault teams into position around the target area. These aircraft are the workhorses of American military aviation, reliable and versatile enough to operate in any environment. The AH-64E Apache Guardians circled overhead providing attack support. The Apache carries a 30mm chain gun, Hellfire missiles, and Hydra rockets. Its targeting systems can identify and engage threats from kilometers away. And during this operation, the Apaches ensured that no ground reinforcements reached the target while the mission was underway. The helicopter teams completed their work quickly, but they never could have reached the target without aircraft keeping them fueled. The tankers made the entire operation possible. Venezuela is far from American bases. The fighters, bombers, and helicopters involved in this operation did not have enough fuel to fly there, complete their missions, and return home without refueling in the air. The KC-135 Stratotanker has been refueling American aircraft since the 1950s, and it remains the backbone of the tanker fleet. These aircraft orbited in safe airspace away from the combat zone, and strike aircraft rotated out to refuel before returning to the fight. The KC-46 Pegasus is the newer replacement, carrying more fuel and featuring advanced systems that allow it to refuel multiple aircraft types with different connection methods. The MC-130J Commando II served the Special Operations helicopters. This aircraft can refuel helicopters in flight using a drogue system, which allowed the MH-47 Chinooks and MH-60s to extend their range far beyond normal limits. Without tanker support, the operation would have required bases in neighboring countries. With it, the U.S. launched everything from international waters and home stations thousands of miles away. If you've made it this far, subscribing takes 1 second and helps more content like this get made. The air operation was complete, and offshore, the naval group was managing everything. The ships provided a floating base that no country could deny access to. The amphibious assault ships served as mobile airfields in international waters. F-35Bs launched from their decks to conduct strikes without needing permission from any foreign government. MV-22 Ospreys flew from these ships carrying personnel and equipment. Their tilt-rotor design, allowing them to take off vertically and then fly like fixed-wing aircraft at high speed. The USS Iwo Jima-class ships carried everything needed to sustain the air operation for days. Ammunition, fuel, maintenance crews, and medical facilities were all on board. Arleigh Burke-class destroyers surrounded the amphibious group, providing layered defense. These ships carry Aegis combat systems capable of tracking hundreds of threats simultaneously. Their vertical launch cells contain SM-2 and SM-6 missiles for air defense, and Tomahawk, cruise missiles for land attack if needed. The destroyers also provided ballistic missile defense, ensuring that no long-range threats could reach the American vessels. Their radar coverage extended hundreds of miles, creating an umbrella of protection that covered the entire operation. The naval group meant the U.S. could conduct this entire mission without relying on any ally or neighboring country for basing rights. In a matter of hours, the United States deployed stealth fighters, multi-role jets, strategic bombers, electronic warfare aircraft, command and control planes, armed drones, special operations helicopters, tanker aircraft, amphibious assault ships, and guided missile destroyers into a single coordinated operation. Every vehicle served a specific role. The F-22s cleared the skies. The F-35s blinded the defenses. The Super Hornets struck key targets. The B-1Bs destroyed hardened positions. The Growlers jammed every radar in the country. The Hawkeyes directed the entire battle. The drones watched everything. The helicopters inserted the teams that completed the objective. The tankers kept everyone fueled, and the naval group provided a base that nobody could take away. This is what full-spectrum military dominance looks like. No other country on Earth can deploy this combination of vehicles at this speed, with this level of coordination. The operation was over before most of Venezuela even woke up.